The Storm, the very definition of death from above. Anthem's glass cannon elemental mage type devastator. Welcome to the road to Anthem. The Storm uses special seals to boost the kinetic powers of the pilot. It's basically a mage that casts spells using science. Seals were created by the Dominion, which is one of the enemy factions, quite possibly the main enemy faction in the world of Anthem. Seals are based on Shaper technology, which just proves the Dominion clearly has a better understanding of the Shaper tech than we do. The Storm's main focus is to hover and rain down destruction from above. It can spend a significant amount of time up in the air as opposed to the other three javelins. And while in the air, hovering in combat, it gains a special shield bubble to help defend it. It has the ability to spread effects when it primes combos. So, for example, if it primes a fire, it'll spread that fire around to all enemies around in an area of effect. Let's talk about the Storm's build. They have their melee, the fiery strike, their gear slots, which is the blast seals, the focus seals, and the support seals. And then of course they have their ultimate, the elemental storm. Starting with melee, they thrust their fists forward and slam enemies backwards with a fiery explosion. Since the Storm is designed to be a ranged class, this is perfect for knocking enemies out of the way and giving you a chance to get back up into the air to continue raining down your destruction. Next up, we have the gear slots. Let's start with the blast seals. Under this category, you have Lightning Strike, Ice Storm, Flame Burst, Rime Blast, and Living Flame. Lightning Strike creates a targeted lightning bolt that deals moderate AoE damage. Ice Storm creates a field of ice on the ground that builds up frost damage that eventually explodes. Flame Burst sets off a fiery explosion at a target location. Rime Blast sends out a flurry of ice projectiles that slowly freezes targets. Living Flame sends out a plasma burst that explodes and ignites all enemies around. Moving right along, we got Focus Seals. This category is your Hoarfrost Shards, Fireball, Ball Lightning, Glacial Beam, and Arc Burst. Hoarfrost Shards rapidly fires shards of ice that slowly freeze. This ability seems to have a quite low cooldown, so it looks like it can be fired in rapid succession, which will freeze faster or slower depending on the elemental affinity of your javelin. Next up, you've got Fireball, which shoots several balls of fire and can be charged for a larger projectile that explodes. Ball Lightning throws a ball of electricity that bounces off walls and even other targets and deals high damage. This ability has been confirmed. It takes a little bit of skill to master in order to know exactly how to aim it for its maximum effect. Next up, we have Glacial Beam, which fires a beam of ice energy that freezes targets. And finally, Arc Burst, which unleashes a blast of lightning that jumps to other targets, essentially chain lightning. That brings us to the support seals. Under this category, we have the Wind Wall and Nexus. Wind Wall creates a defensive wall made of wind. It deflects enemy projectiles. It seems to be most effective when maybe trying to pick up a fallen party member, just to get under some cover when there doesn't seem to be any around. And then you have Nexus, which generates a field that grants ability cooldown reduction for your allies. which could be quite effective if you're against a big boss or a group of large enemies where you need to use your abilities faster. And lastly, you have the Storm's ultimate, Elemental Storm. It covers an area with 3 different elemental fields: fire, ice, and electric. You can choose where these 3 get laid down. You can do them in a row, you can stack them all on top of each other if you're fighting a large boss. Once all 3 elemental fields are put down, you can then finish off the move, which causes a giant meteor to slam down on each of the 3 circles, causing devastating damage. If you're into your more mage-type classes in traditional RPGs and MMOs, then you would definitely want to check out the Storm. One thing I would like to point out, though, is that even though they are essentially a mage with the elemental abilities, fighting from a distance, that kind of thing, just like every other Javelin, they still have their 2 weapon slots. Storms can use things like sniper rifles and assault rifles, so you can still mix and match it a little bit. Even though they are technically a mage, they're quite versatile in their different damage that they can do as well. Alright guys, that's it for this video, and that officially rounds off my Javelin exploration series. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to throw a like, maybe subscribe, at least hit that bell so you know when the next video becomes available. And I will see you next time on the road to Anthem.